There are nights when your soul speaks to you but your heart no longer responds. You feel this tension, this silent weight, this fatigue that does not come from the body but from the inner emptiness. You look for a reflection of peace in faces, for appeasement in words, but everything dissolves like smoke between your fingers. And when you stop for a moment, when the world falls silent, you hear that whisper you were trying to forget. Come back to me. It is Allah who calls you. Every pain you feel is not a punishment. It's an invitation. Every solitude you go through is a school where your soul learns to listen to what it was fleeing from. Every failure is a forge where fire does not destroy but transforms. It is there, in the furnace of trials, that your heart is shaped, that your faith takes root, that your soul finally learns to say, Hasbi Allah, Allah me sufit. Indeed, in the remembrance of Allah do hearts find tranquility. Surah 13:28. But to find this peace, you must dare to face the fire. The believer does not flee from the test, he rises up against it, for he knows that at the end of pain, there is purification. He knows that Allah takes nothing away from him without offering him something purer, truer, more eternal. And when the world breaks you 100 times, understand, it is not to destroy you, it is to teach you to bend the knee before the one who never disappoints. You think you're losing, but it's your ego that's shattered, not your soul. You think you are abandoned, but Allah is preparing you. He strips you so that you can find Him without intermediary, without mask, without illusion. And when everything seems to be going out, remember, faith is not recognized by ease, but by how you remain standing when everything is falling apart. Ibn Qayyim said, Allah does not test the servant to break him, but to purify his intention and strengthen his faith. So when tears well up in your eyes, when your heart tightens and your soul trembles, don't ask, why me? Ask, what does Allah want to teach me through this? Because behind every challenge there is a lesson in connection. And the deeper the pain, the wider the door to Him. The ancients said, whoever Allah loves, He tests him so that he may return to Him purified. So tell me, what would you do if your faith depended on a single act today? If tonight were your last prayer, would you pray it with the same attention? If Allah called you now, what would He find in your heart, sincerity or forgetfulness? The Prophet said, whoever Allah wills good, He tests him. This is how believers are shaped. Not in gentleness but in resistance. Not in safety but in the heat of stripping. Iron becomes a sword under the blows of the hammer, and the heart of the believer becomes light under the blows of fate. Look at the prophets before you. Each of them crossed the desert before reaching the promise. Yusuf alayhi salam was thrown into a well before sitting on the throne. Musa alayhi salam fled Egypt before speaking to Allah on the mount. Muhammad experienced abandonment, loss and persecution before the light triumphed in Medina. And you, do you think you are shaped without being tested? The fire that burns is the same that purifies. The pain you feel today is proof that Allah is elevating you. Don't run away from your trial, go through it with Him. For in every flame there is a secret. In every tear there is mercy. And in every silence, there is the voice of Allah inviting you to return. So, close your eyes, listen to your heart beat. It is not only your blood that circulates, it is your soul that seeks its origin. Let the pain teach you, let the fire purify you, let faith rebuild you. You have lost nothing if you have kept Allah. And even if everything collapses around you, as long as you say La ilaha illa Allah, you never cease to be complete. The human heart is an ocean, sometimes calm, sometimes agitated, sometimes covered with the foam of illusions. But at the bottom of this ocean remains a light that nothing can extinguish, the presence of Allah. There is in every beat, in every breath, in every thrill of your soul, a quiet reminder that you are never alone. Even when you think you are lost, Allah has not left you. It is you who have drifted away from the shore, carried away by the waves of the world, but her light continues to illuminate the depths, waiting for you to dive back to her. And know that within yourselves are signs. Do you not see them? Surah 51:21. The heart is this sign. It is the sanctuary where Allah reveals Himself to the one who is silent, to the one who listens. When you sit in silence, letting go of the weight of distractions, then the whisper of the presence touches you. I am with you. But how many still hear this voice? The din of the world has buried souls under layers of noise, anxiety, pride, and the diker then becomes a rope thrown into the ocean, a rope of light that brings you back to the surface. Diker is not a mechanical recitation. It is a breath that polishes the mirror of the heart. Each subnal erases a stain. Each alhamdulillah lightens a burden. Each Allahu Akbar raise your soul above the world. And sometimes a single tear shed in the secrecy of the night is worth more than 1,000 words. Al-Ghazali said, the heart is like a mirror. When it becomes covered with dust, it can no longer reflect the divine light. This dust is the excesses, the grudges, the attachments that you carry without realizing it. Every sin clouds the mirror a little more, and every memory of Allah purifies it. So purify it by the Dikr at dawn, when the world is still asleep and the angels look down upon those who invoke by the discreet tears shed in prostration, where the heart touches the earth and the sky at the same time by the silence in which you stand before your Lord, naked of pride and full of humility by the breath of faith that says, O Allah, I have nothing except you. Whoever puts his trust in Allah, He is sufficient for him. Surah 65:3, these words are not a distant promise, they are an inner reality. When your heart trusts, the outside world ceases to have the final say. Storms may roar, people may betray, paths may be lost, but your center remains at peace. This peace is Sakina, the silent descent of the divine presence upon the heart of the one who remembers. Faith is not in the tongue, it resides in that living heart that throbs for Allah, and when your heart remembers, your soul breathes. You no longer need to be seen because you are already being seen. You no longer need to be understood, for Allah understands what even you do not know. You no longer need to run because the return to Him begins where you stop to remember Him. Every beat becomes a Dikr, every breath a sign of gratitude. When you walk, He walks with you. When you fall, He picks you up, and when you doubt, His light still whispers, fear not. I am closer to you than your jugular vein. This is where the heart finds its true name. Heart, the one who overturns, turns over, transforms. A living heart is not one that never falters, but one that continually returns to Allah. Even having fallen 1,000 times, he rises again with the name of God on his lips. And when your heart becomes that purified mirror, the whole world changes. You see beauty in rain, wisdom in pain, mercy in every trial. You finally understand that Dikr is not an isolated prayer, but a way of existing. Breathing becomes an act of faith. Watching becomes worship. Silence becomes praise, and in this awareness you discover the secret of the saints. Allah is not far away. You just have to remember. The companions of the Prophet were warriors of faith. Their swords rested, but their hearts fought in prayer. They understood that the most formidable battlefield was not that of the saber, but that of the soul. Umar ibn al-Khattab anhu, whose voice made the enemies tremble, wept alone in the night that he walked the alleys of Medina, watching over the poor, praying for those who slept, fearing that Allah would call him to account for those he governed, that he would sometimes break down and say, woe to Umar if he is not forgiven. Power hadn't inflated him, it had broken him to remind himself whose he belonged. Ibn Mas'ud recited the Quran until his tears flooded his beard. Every verse shot through him like an arrow. It is said that when he recited, if we had sent down this Quran upon a mountain, you would have seen it humbled and split asunder for fear of Allah. Surah 59:21, he stopped, unable to continue, for he saw this mountain within himself, and he knew that it had to break for the light to fall upon it. These men did not read the Quran to know it, but to merge with it. They did not seek knowledge to dominate, but to purify themselves. Ali ibn Abi Lib said, the world flees from him who pursues it, and submits to him who turns away from it. They understood that the wealth of the world is a mirage. The more you pursue it, the further it moves away. But whoever closes his eyes to it, Allah will open to him the treasures of heaven. They lived simply, but their souls were immense. Their greatness was not measured in gold, but in prostrations. Their glory did not shine in palaces, but in the silence of the nights where only Allah and they spoke to each other. They knew the secret of the Tawakkul. Their patience was not resignation, but contained power. Their confidence was not naivety, but certainty that everything comes from Allah, even pain. They knew that victory is not measured in battles won, but in passions conquered. True power is not in domination, but in self-control. This is why they were invincible, because they had subdued their nafs before subduing kingdoms. When night fell, they became children again before their Lord. They raised their hands not to strike, but to implore. Their swords rested, but their hearts still fought. Prayer was their weapon, tears their armor, faith their shield. They knew that the real war is played out in the secrecy of the sujoud, where the soul bows and frees itself. Those who saw them standing in battle were unaware that they had already won long before entering it. They had conquered their ego. The Prophet said, the strong man is not the one who overpowers others, but the one who controls himself in anger. They lived this word like a code. They controlled their tongues when they wanted to hurt, their hands when they wanted to strike, their hearts when they wanted to judge. They knew that every anger is a door that the Shain is trying to open, and every time they closed it, a light descended into their chests. And you, what have you mastered today? Your gaze, your tongue, your desire? Or are you a slave to what your soul desires? The greatest jihad is not that which is waged on a battlefield, but that which is undertaken in the solitude of the heart. Every day you fight forgetfulness, laziness, pride, doubt. You rise for prayer when sleep calls you. You hold back a word that could hurt. You refuse a pleasure that would extinguish your light. This is your jihad. These companions were not angels but men who had made a choice, to purify themselves rather than to satisfy themselves. They feared, they fell, they doubted, but they always returned to Allah. And this is the sign of the chosen, not perfection but return. For the greatest miracle is not never to fall, but to get up every time, saying, Ya Rab, I surrender. It is in this surrender that true strength lies, the one that bends mountains and illuminates hearts. Those who discover it become warriors of the night, invisible but present, silent but burning. They walk this earth like hidden lights, carrying the memory of those who, before them, prayed until dawn, their eyes bathed in tears, so that faith would never be extinguished. Breathe. Feel this breath entering you. It does not belong to you. It is a gift, a proof that your Lord grants you one more moment to draw closer to Him. Every breath is a silent reminder, La ilaha illa Allah. When you breathe in, you welcome His mercy. When you breathe out, you lay down your burdens. Dhikr is that breath which purifies the invisible. It straightens the heart as the wind straightens the flame. Remember your Lord in your heart, humbly and with fear, without raising your voice, morning and evening, and do not be among the heedless. Surah 7:205. Faith is training. A constant return to presence. A sacred rehearsal where your soul is attuned to divine will. Don't look for perfection. Look for sincerity. For Allah does not look at the appearance, but at the purity of the heart. Ibn Taymiyyah said, Paradise is peace of heart here below. Whoever attains it lives in a garden before the garden. So repeat His name until it erases everything else. Walk in memory as you walk towards the light, and know that the heart that remembers Allah knows no fear. You were not created to fade away in distraction. You were born to be light. But light must be earned. It is won through nights of prayer, through patience in loss, through constancy in faith. Every tear shed for Allah is a diamond in the invisible. Every prostration is an open door to eternity. Every moment of sincerity is a breath of heaven. The Prophet said, He who often remembers death sees his joys diminish and his sorrows lighten. So come back. Return to the one who awaits you at every dawn. Come back before your breath runs out, for this world is a shadow and only Allah is real. And when you fall to your knees, don't say you're weak. Say you've returned to the source. The fire of trials did not destroy you, it revealed you. You are forged by faith. You are shaped by dhikr. You are the work of a God who loves you enough to wake you up through the pain. So stand up, believer, and move forward even injured, for it is in flames that the purest souls are born.